into the next topic.
Yep.
Where we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks, but we're going to do something a little bit different because I've watched your shows, Noah, and I've heard you talk very glowingly about Brock Purdy. I have only positive things to say about Lamar. So I'll let you go first. Tell me what you like about Brock Purdy, what you've seen from him this year.
What I like most about Brock Purdy is he's just stoic. Like, he doesn't seem to get rattled, doesn't seem to get shaken. And even watching him last year, he was a rookie last year, right? I'm looking at him and I'm like, this guy just looks too confident. Like, he just doesn't, he shouldn't be this calm in the pocket as a rookie. So that's my biggest, like, what I'm most impressed with him. But then he's also accurate. You know, you're just talking about pinpoint, deadly accurate, you know, putting the ball exactly where it needs to be. He's got great touch. Some of the system, the scheme that the 49ers run, he's able to just beautifully layer the ball over linebackers off of play action, kind of thread it in between like the different layers of the defense. So I love his touch, his accuracy, and then he just doesn't seem to get rattled. And the Ravens defense really lives off of that, getting quarterbacks uncomfortable, like hitting quarterbacks, even if they're not getting sacks, just like being aggressive, hitting the quarterback, getting them rattled, giving them different looks, getting them confused. So, you know, that could be a really key matchup to see if, you know, he gets rattled at all. I don't know if he will, but looking at his numbers, over 3,700 passing yards, second in the NFL. Yeah. What's really impressive here too, 9.9 yards per throw. That's good for first in the NFL. And then the best passer rating at 119. So, I mean, Brock Purdy, he's balling. I know there's a lot of talk about, oh, well, he's got all these weapons, but what else do you want him to do besides put the ball in the perfect spot for the weapons to go get the ball, run after catch? That's really where he's made a lot of his money. People say, well, you know, he's got Deebo Samuel breaking all these tackles and yards after catch, and C-Mac and Ayuk and all this stuff, George Kittle. But the placement of the ball, where he's hitting his receivers and tight ends in stride, and C-Mac, you know, allowing them to run after catch, shouldn't go overlooked either. And Kyle Hamilton was asked about Brock Purdy today, and he said, quote, "The word around the league is that he's a system quarterback, but from what I've seen, that's just not true." So from Kyle Hamilton himself saying, no, he's not just a system quarterback. He's playing excellent football. So I think it's going to be a really tough test for the Ravens defense. But I will say the Ravens defense on the road has been very good this year. They only have allowed 14.4 points per game on the road, 270 yards allowed total on the road, and they've been 6-1. So for whatever reason, the Ravens defense shows up on the road. So it'll be a really good matchup. I think Brock Purdy's playing really good football.
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic matchup. I'll return the favor and I'll talk a little bit about Lamar Jackson. You know, we know what Lamar brings from a running aspect. I think everybody knows what Lamar brings from a running aspect. He's the most dynamic quarterback in the NFL, the most dynamic quarterback that we've had in this league since Michael Vick. He's absolutely incredible. There are other quarterbacks that can run, but nobody does it like him. The way that he can get shifty, change speeds, he's one of one in the NFL as a runner. But people that don't watch Lamar regularly think that we're still dealing with Lamar from 2 years ago, or maybe even longer. They can't get over the fact that the last time that they watched him as a passer, he wasn't doing the things that he's doing now. Lamar Jackson has improved in every aspect as a passer. When you look at him now and he gets pressured, he doesn't put his eyes down and take off looking to run. He keeps his eyes downfield and tries to stay at or behind the line of scrimmage for as long as possible before he bails. That is a change in his game. His accuracy has gone up since he's been in the NFL. His touch has improved a ton. And quite frankly, I got to say this too. It's interesting that his touch has improved because I think his arm strength has improved. When Lamar Jackson first came in the league, we knew that he could throw the ball far. But as far as velocity goes, I would have never put him in the upper echelon of quarterbacks as far as velocity. I think he's starting to creep up there, man. The velocity on his arm is really improved over the last few years from what I've seen. Lamar Jackson has improved in every facet of the game when it comes to passing. He's a student of the game. He works his butt off. And man, Lamar Jackson, who won an MVP a couple years ago, put up magnificent numbers. I think he's the best that he's ever been this year. And that's saying a lot about a former unanimous MVP. So
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say, and I 100% agree with you that he's playing better this year than he did in 2019 when he won the MVP. Some people are saying that maybe he's slowed down a little bit. I don't know. He's added a few pounds to his frame. I'll say that. And the one thing you're talking about with some of the arm velocity, kind of able to rip some of those outside throws. I think his spiral is tighter from whenever he first came in the league, which helps a lot. And then the way he uses his hips to drive the ball on the outside has improved as well. So, and the other thing is, this is really the only year we've seen Lamar Jackson with at least average to above average receiving core. And he has a different offensive coordinator. So, I mean, if you look at years past, in 2019, when Lamar won the MVP, and the Ravens were 14-2, winning 12 straight. And, Lamar Jackson threw 36 touchdowns to only like 6 interceptions. He was throwing to guys like Willie Snead. I think is Willie Snead on the Niners now? The practice squad?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
I think he is. But Willie Snead, like Miles Boykin, rookie Marquise Brown, who was coming off an injury, like he's never really had receivers like this and a scheme that allowed him to make checks and be a passing friendly scheme. So this is why you're seeing like kind of the development of Lamar Jackson. We already knew that he was talented as a passer, but was never really given the keys to truly thrive in that manner. So it's definitely refreshing to see change in scenery with receivers and new offensive coordinator.
Well, and a couple more things that I want to point out is the year that he won the MVP. I think right now, I was looking at it the other day, so it's close. His passing yards and his attempts are basically dead even through 14 games of what he had as MVP year. So he's throwing a little bit more, but also you talked about what Hamilton said. I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but the 49ers have not been shy about telling you how they feel about opposing quarterbacks this year. When they went to play the Eagles, the way that Shanahan and Nick Bosa talked about Jalen Hurts, they do not respect Jalen Hurts as a passer at all. They're like, listen, we're going to sit back. We're going to keep him in the pocket. We're not going to get out of our lanes, and we're going to force him to throw. And they did. They didn't move upfield at all. They didn't even attempt to attack him for most of that game. They just made him a passer, and he couldn't do it. Then when it came to playing Kyler last week, they had good things to say about him as a passer. This week, Shanahan talked about Lamar and how impressed he was with his game and his improvement. And when Deebo Samuel was asked about him, the smile on his face, the way he lit up, told you all you needed to know. If you didn't hear the words and you just saw his reaction, you would know that he thinks so highly of Lamar Jackson and respects the hell out of everything he's doing. So the 49ers definitely respect Lamar Jackson, as they should, but they are not shy if they do not respect a quarterback. They absolutely do respect Lamar Jackson.
Awesome. Yeah, I was surprised to hear you say that. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, and they said that Hurts, they liked him. He was really talented. But once you you were like, no, they do not respect him as a passer. So that's funny.
And that was going into the game. They didn't respect, so obviously he's fallen off the last couple of weeks and everybody's starting to talk about it. But the 49ers believe that going into that game. So I thought that was an interesting twist there. Frank Tom Ocean says, you guys rock. Thank you both. I need Ayuk and likely to pop off this game. I think they might. 1 week closer to my fantasy championship. Let's go Niners. Thanks again.